let's be real for a second. Does socializing completely drain your energy, even when you're actually enjoying yourself? You know the feeling. You're at a party, you're having some genuinely great conversations, but afterwards, you just feel totally wiped out and need to retreat to a quiet room just to recover. Well, if you're nodding your head right now, you are absolutely not alone. In fact, that specific question comes straight from a quiet quiz designed to help us figure out our own energy levels. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens and why it might literally be your greatest hidden superpower. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, our mission is to dismantle some deeply rooted societal biases and completely reframe how we look at introversion. For way too long, the world has just operated on this assumption that louder is automatically better, right? That success somehow requires a booming voice and constant networking. But the data, the psychology, and honestly history tell a totally different story. We're going to explore the quiet power that has actually shaped our world. So here's our roadmap for today. We're covering 1. The extrovert bias, 2. Redefining true introversion, 3. Advantages 1 and 2, which are focus and thoughtful creativity, 4. Advantages 3 and 4, listening and calm leadership, 5. Deep mastery, and finally, 6. Unpacking your true suitcase. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the extrovert bias and how society changed. To really understand why introverts often feel kind of out of place today, we have to look back at a very distinct historical shift. Back in the 19th century, society was all about the culture of character. People highly valued modesty, integrity, and a quiet demeanor. Think of the immense respect commanded by someone like Abraham Lincoln, for instance. But as urbanization and industrialization completely took over in the 20th century, we shifted into this culture of personality. Suddenly, to stand out in a massive crowd, those quiet virtues were pushed aside in favor of bold, highly visible charisma. Moving on to Section 2, redefining true introversion, it's about energy, not shyness. That cultural shift we just talked about, it created a massive misunderstanding. Introversion is not shyness. It's not social anxiety. It is 100% about energy management. Shyness is basically a fear of social judgment, whereas introversion is simply how you biologically respond to stimulation. Think of it like this. An extrovert gains energy from social interaction, almost like a solar panel soaking up the sun. An introvert, on the flip side, expends energy in social situations and has to recharge their battery through solitude. An introvert can be incredibly confident and charismatic. They just need some quiet time afterward to recover. And man, this misunderstanding carries some real emotional weight. The author Susan Cain experienced this perfectly. When she was a kid, she actually packed a literal suitcase full of books for summer camp, thinking it'd be this cozy, quiet reading environment. Instead, she was met with a counselor forcing all the kids to chant a cheer spelling the word rowdy. She was made to feel that her quiet, book-loving nature was somehow wrong. So what did she do? She hid her books under her bed. She hid her true self. She even grew up to become a lawyer, trying to fit into this extroverted mold before finally realizing her true calling was to be a writer. It really makes you wonder, how many of us are hiding our true suitcases right now? Well, it's time to stop hiding the suitcase, because inside it are some absolutely incredible strengths. We're shifting now to the core evidence of our explainer. Based on historical data and psychological profiles, introverts possess 5 hidden superpowers that are huge for personal and professional growth. Enhanced focus, thoughtful creativity, active listening, calm leadership, and depth over breadth. Let's dive into Section 3, Advantages 1 and 2, Focus and Thoughtful Creativity. Advantage number 1 is enhanced focus. When you step away from the noise of the crowd, you breed unparalleled innovation. Just think about the tech we rely on today. Steve Wozniak engineered the very first Apple computer working entirely solo in a cubicle. He had the immense, deep concentration needed to solve incredibly complex engineering problems without distraction. Similarly, look at Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the brilliant missile man of India. He was famously soft-spoken and contemplative, spending hours upon hours in totally quiet, deep research to master aerospace challenges. That level of deep, uninterrupted work, that is a classic introvert advantage. And that flows right into advantage number 2, thoughtful creativity. When you're alone, you completely avoid groupthink. Charles Darwin famously took these long, solitary walks in nature just to painstakingly organize his groundbreaking theories on evolution. Dr. Seuss, he created his wildly imaginative books in a secluded office. He actually avoided crowds, even children, because he wasn't this loud Santa Claus-type figure. He was a very reserved thinker. The famous novelist R.K. Narayan also relied on quiet, reflective spaces to observe the world and craft his brilliant stories.
Section 4. Advantages 3 and 4. Focusing on listening and calm leadership.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, sure, introverts are great when they're alone, but what about leading a team? Well, advantage number 3 is active listening and empathy. Extroverts sometimes run the risk of talking right over their team or completely dominating a brainstorm. Introverts listen. Take Ratan Tata, the legendary industrialist. He built an immense corporate empire not by shouting the loudest, but through a soft-spoken, highly empathetic approach. Because he actively listened, he nurtured the very best ideas from his team and built just unparalleled loyalty and trust. This actually connects directly to a really famous concept from the 48 Laws of Power. Always speak less than necessary. Think about it for a second. When someone talks constantly, we eventually just tune them out, right? But when a traditionally quiet person finally speaks up, what happens? The entire room leans in. Because their words are measured and thoughtful, people listen so much more closely. You don't need a booming voice to command attention. You just need intentional words. Which leads us perfectly to advantage number 4, calm, collected leadership. Under immense pressure, introverts tend to maintain a very steady, analytical mind. Mahatma Gandhi is perhaps the ultimate historical example of this. He didn't rely on fiery, aggressive, table-pounding speeches. He inspired millions and led a massive historical movement through quiet strength, nonviolence, and incredibly measured words. His power came from deep inner conviction, not outward volume.
Section 5. Advantage 5. Deep mastery through depth over breadth.
We live in a world that is totally obsessed with multitasking, but the introvert prioritizes depth over breadth. An introvert is way less likely to just jump from one fleeting interest to another, and much more likely to dive deeply into a single pursuit. I mean, J.K. Rowling conceptualized the entire world of Harry Potter while stuck on a delayed train. She sat there in pure, uninterrupted, quiet reflection. She didn't even ask to borrow a pen from a stranger because she was too shy. She just sat in her own mind, building an absolute masterwork. Rabindranath Tagore, the Nobel laureate, similarly drew immense power for his poetry from deep inner contemplation. By ignoring the distraction of the crowd, they achieved true mastery. Finally, Section 6, unpacking your true suitcase and the need for balance. Look, unpacking your true suitcase isn't about declaring one personality type superior to the other. Carl Jung famously said that there is no such thing as 100% pure introvert or extrovert. If there were, they'd be in an asylum. We all exist on a spectrum, and true success requires a yin-yang balance. The greatest achievements happen when we combine deep focus, empathy, and careful thought with group charisma, rapid execution, and energy. Remember Steve Wozniak, the introvert who built the Apple I? That invention changed the world, absolutely, but it reached the masses because he teamed up with Steve Jobs, an extrovert who brought the energy and charisma to sell it. We literally need both energies at the table. So to foster this healthy balance, Susan Cain offers some great actionable steps for our society and for ourselves to take away from this explainer. Number 1, we need to stop forcing 24/7 group work in schools and offices. We have to give people the solitary space they need to actually think. Number 2, deliberately spend time alone, ideally out in nature, to unplug and recharge your battery no matter where you fall on the spectrum. And number 3, take a really good, hard look inside your own suitcase. Which brings us to our final thought. Whether you are an introvert who has been exhausting yourself pretending to be loud, or an extrovert who hasn't given yourself a single moment of silence to think deeply, stop hiding. Embrace the exact traits that give you your power. So I want to leave you with this question to reflect on today. What is truly inside your suitcase, and when are you finally going to open it up for the world to see?